World is getting colder, trying to get sober. Lord help me get stronger. World is on my shoulders.
How are you doing today? This is the 12 at 12 podcast, the podcast about real life, recovery, redemption, growth and development, because that's what this is about. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please tap the subscribe button. And we are sponsored by First Step Recovery. If you need help with substance abuse disorder, severe mental illness, don't hesitate to reach out to them. The number's on top. They will be happy to help you, for sure. We have a special guest today, Anthony.
What's up, my man?
How you doing, brother?
Good,
how you doing,
bro.
man? Yes, sir. Yes,
Good
sir.
see you,
God
man.
bless you. God bless you,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yes, sir, man. So I'm glad you was able to make it in. We met at the community meeting.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, first, I appreciate you having me on the podcast. It means a lot. So a little bit about my story. I kind of grew up in a poor environment down in Portland, down in the West End, born and raised. It almost seemed like every time our rent was due, we was moving houses. Kind of grew up around the addiction. One of four brothers. Unfortunately, we had a brother pass away at a young age due to heart complications. I was one of the only four brothers that actually fell to addiction. I got two brothers, one older, one younger, who's very successful for themselves. And then at an early age, when my two older brothers went to college, me and my little brothers kind of had to split up into two different foster homes. He went the right path, and I fell into a good family, but it was my choices that got me into a lot more trouble of just making the wrong decisions. Ended up getting kicked out of that foster home, running away from two other ones. Finally had a cousin who took me in until I was 18, and then pretty much I was on my own, and that's kind of what I think what started my addiction, along with the choices that I made, you know.
So you mentioned the foster homes. What was the situation that probably went that brought you into foster care? So
it got to a point to where our grandmother, who ended up taking custody of us because of the situation my mom put us in with her ex-husband, the courts wouldn't no longer allow us to live with them anymore. So my grandma, she already had one son, so she took custody of four younger boys, and then got to a point to where, you know, she wasn't able to, take care of us anymore. So it got to a point to where, like I said, my two older brothers went to college. My younger brother went to a foster home. And it was some families that we played, Little League Baseball with that kind of took us, into foster care. And like I say, it was because of my actions. I come home from a basketball tournament one evening, and I thought I was being slick, hiding some weed and other stuff throughout my room. Well, they
How old
found
were you
it.
at the time?
I think I was right around 16, maybe.
Is that when you started smoking?
Well,
Or?
I tried marijuana at a young age, around like 9 years old, and I don't know if that was due to the addiction part of what fell in love with it, the way it made me feel.
Kind of made you escape reality
I mean, a little bit. And I think what it was the way my mom was. It was pretty much, as long as the kids are content and they're not in harm's way, I'm gonna do my thing as a parent. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's one of those things is, let me get my kids out of my hair for a little bit. And I don't dog my mom. My mom did what she could to raise us the best way she knew how. I'll forever have love. I mean, it's my mom at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
But it really didn't feel much. Of course, growing up in the environment we grew up, it was, hey, go grab me, families having parties, go grab me a beer out of the refrigerator. Well, as a young kid, we're going to pop that beer, take a little sip, you know what I mean?
Hey, I'm telling you.
We're going to have a little fun with it. So I don't know if that's what started anything, because it really, you really weren't getting drunk or anything like that. Granted, it's not good for a kid to do something like that. But it became the ultimate choice of the older I got, I would surround myself with not the right crowds. Crowds pulling stuff out, and then out of curiosity, I'm like, hey, how's that make you feel? So it starts with that choice, you know what I mean? And then I think that's what fuels any addiction, is the initial making that choice to say, what's that make you feel like? And then once you make that choice and you like that feeling, especially someone who's an opiate addict, once you get that feeling, you crave that feeling, but then it becomes a necessity where you have to have that feeling.
Yeah.
It ain't for the high. It's for, I don't want to feel sick no more. You know what I mean? Like I want to feel normal, and I know if I don't have this pill or this heroin, if I don't have none of that or this fentanyl, I'm going to feel like crap, and I'm not trying to feel like that. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it starts with a choice, and that's what it was. It was my bad choices. I call it trying to buck the system, trying to live on my own will, you know?
For real, trying to do your own thing, figure things out. I think it got a lot to do also with, like you were saying, being around certain people, bad choices of who you hanging around. Because, listen, people, he said a great thing just then. You know, his choices, but you got to recognize when you're in a bad situation. You know, nobody's forcing you to take these things, but influence is a very powerful thing.
Huge.
And if you surround yourself by, and I think it always goes back to that saying, but you ever heard that saying that you know, you are who you hang around, or birds of a feather, basically the old school saying, birds of a feather flock together, bro. It's like it's real spill right there. Because
show me 5 of your friends, I'll show you your future.
Yeah, it really is.
That's the ultimate truth.
That's what it is.
You know, we've heard it multiple times. Millionaires hang around millionaires.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's, you're putting yourself in that environment. Doesn't mean that you have to do the things that's going on in your circle, but eventually over time, you'll get weeded out. If you want to hang with them people, you'll get weeded out if you're not doing what they're doing, which becomes that peer pressure.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
It says in the Bible, two can't walk together unless they're in agreement.
Yeah.
No, I don't push it on y'all. I always say that.
I preach it too.
Hey, get a close up right here. Get a close up right here. Hey, two can't walk together unless they're in agreement. That goes with friendships, relationships, all that good stuff. Because
100%.
one person's gonna be thinking this way, another person gonna think this way, and then it's gonna end up, if they don't agree, it's gonna just end up naturally pulling them apart. You're just not gonna get nothing out of that friendship or relationship, and it's gonna end up being a conflict of interest.
Absolutely.
But if you are around that person, and then you might just start to, you know what, I don't really want to do this, but I'm gonna bend a little bit for what this person is doing. I'm gonna bend a little bit for that person doing a little bit more, and then you just keep bending until you're in full subjection
to what they want.
Of what they want.
Yeah.
You're not even doing what you really want to do anymore. You just okay if it's out of getting acceptance or whatever, or just wanting to be kind of like with even gang activity. You know, a lot of people just want to get accepted in those things.
And that's
Drug
what it
use, they
is.
want to get accepted. The next thing you know, they got so far in too deep, it starts to become them.
Well, and then at the end of the day, what you saying that it's when you suffice to someone else's needs, like you don't understand that you're being manipulated to its utmost by somebody else, and that goes with gangs, bad people that you hang around. You're being manipulated, but then you turn around and reflect that manipulation back onto someone else, whether you know it, that you're doing it or not. You might be, you know, self-conscious to it, but that's majority of the times what addicts do. We manipulate people to get what we want, and then the whole time of trying to be somebody you're not and getting influenced and manipulated by the bad crowds, we turn that manipulation around to our benefits at the end of the day. And a lot of people are not, they don't realize that, and then that's just who you end up becoming. And then the drugs obviously doesn't make you make any better decisions when you're doing that, you know what I mean? And then we continue to hurt the people that we love constantly, and we don't really care when we're in our addiction of who we hurt, how many bridges we burn. You know what I mean? But it's a blessing. And I've said this too to my now wife, who basically said it was over. After 13 years of me and her being together, we bought a house together, had kids together. She kicked me out, and she was like, "Hey, I just want to see you get better." You know what I mean? And by the grace of God, I always had a little brother that would stay on my phone, stay by where I was at, would drive by, check on me. By the grace of God. And he even told me one day, I showed up at his house to get some toys from his daughter to give to my daughters. And when I left, he said, "You're no longer welcome here until you get better." And out of everybody that has cut me off, like seriously, that's probably the one that hit me the hardest. And I was like, you know what? I got to do something different. I'm way too old for this. You know what I mean? And I called his bluff one day. One day I come out doing a job, and my truck wouldn't start. and this is probably months, and I'm sure, you know, whoever listens to this podcast, they're going to be like, man, he tells that story over and over, but if you notice, nothing's going to change in this story.
So you know it's the truth right there.
And
There's no cap.
Yeah, like the young kids say.
like the young bucks say, no cap.
So I go out, I had a little Ford Ranger. It wouldn't start. It was a little 5-speed.
Mm-hmm.
There was an apartment complex. The driveway went down the hill. There was a street. There was an O'Reilly's parking lot across the street.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know anything about driving 5-speeds, you can pop the clutch and it'll start it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to do that. It wouldn't start. I had O'Reilly's come out, try to jump it multiple times. It still wouldn't start.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is probably months, 6 to 8 months of me crying on job sites, of crying out to God, saying, send me a sign, I need some help. And I slept in my car or my truck all that night, getting high, doing every drug that I had. Well, the next morning I woke up and I called my little brother and I was like, hey, you always said if I need help, you'll come get me.
Yeah.
An hour later, he shows up, puts jumper cables on that truck, and that truck fires up. And he says, all right, what do you want to do now? I said, man, let's leave this truck. I'm ready to go treatment.
That was God right there.
God. So in my story,
Amen.
in my story, I looked at it like this. Like I've never been really big in the church. I've been trying to get a little acclimated to one now. But I looked at it like this. If God can touch something mechanical in my life, like he physically can't put his hands on it, but he heard my cries. He heard the pain. He knew I was lost. If he can touch my truck that's mechanical, what can he do to my heart and mind if I surrender it to him? So I gave my life to the Lord. Now the mother of my kids who kicked me out, we're back in the same house. We just celebrated over a year of marriage. I get to see my kids. I get to take my kids. I actually took my daughter to the dentist this morning.
Oh, for real?
And it's just the little things like that. And, you know, being able to be there for your kids, remember those memories. I think it's something that we take for granted in our addiction. Now, we got healthy kids. There's a lot of people out there that don't do any drugs that have kids with a lot of health issues. That suffer, that doesn't need that. And then, you know, us being in recovery and stuff, we ask for healthy kids and we get them, and then we don't do anything with it until we start to get sober. So, but yeah, that's what drew me a little bit closer to God. And a funny part to that is I was just at the facility that I went through, and I sold a truck to one of the guys working in medical.
Oh, wow.
He said that truck still starts up and runs to this day.
Oh, dang.
No problems with it.
That truck blessed.
Like I literally put eyes on that truck, and I was like, man, that's crazy.
That's a blessing.
You know what I mean? It kind of gives me cold chills when I see that truck, because I was homeless in that truck for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it basically took any and everybody that loved me to love me from a distance for me to have to realize, I mean, addiction's a lonely place.
Nah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you don't realize it because you're feeling your body with all these drugs and this alcohol, and you're filling all these empty voids with all this negative stuff. But at the end of it, addiction's lonely. You know what I mean?
It is.
But it's a blessing when you get sober, and you learn to remain faithful, and you live your life for God. You put God first and your recovery second. I imagine you've heard that multiple times, man. Everything else magically falls into place.
Yeah.
It's a scary feeling how it happens. It's just when you learn to live for the Lord, man,
everything lines up.
It's unexplainable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
it's I feel like it's the truth.
It is.
So when you go to dealing with truth, things have no choice but to fall into place. If you put God first, and then you got your recovery. He actually is, even if you don't see him, he actually is going to just miraculously, things are just gonna start happening. It might have been something 5 years ago you prayed for, then bang, it just hits.
Yeah.
The key thing is you just can't give up.
Exactly.
It's faith, the evidence of things, you know what I'm saying? The substance of things, hope for the evidence of things not seen.
I mean, the 12 steps is based on spiritual principles.
Yeah, exactly.
It starts with number one, you know what I mean?
It starts with it,
Yeah,
man. You
absolutely.
People try to do it themselves. And I think it's like, you know, I was just talking to some of my coworkers earlier, right? And I was like, listen, you got to get to the point where you like this. I'm willing to die, not to go back and use.
Yep.
Bring it in close. I'm willing to die. That's the mindset you gotta get to.
Yeah.
You're not going to go back. I'm not gonna go back to the drugs I used to use. I'm not gonna go back to living in the same places I used to use. I'm not gonna go back to prison. I'm not gonna go back to committing the crimes or promiscuity, sexual promiscuity, going back and treating people like crap and dirt. Once you get in that mind and you put in yourself in, you got to make a promise to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, other people, they can help you, but at the end of the day, you have to make that decision. You have to have that change of heart. And if you cry out to God, he'll give you that change of heart.
Absolutely.
That's it. I'm not going back. And once you make that decision, you just, hey, don't go back.
Yeah. And it's huge in this field. Like I'll tell a lot of the clients that I serve, because I was also at one point when I was working for another company, I was going inside Louisville Metro and teaching groups. And now I had to go get re-fingerprinted and all that good stuff that, you know, they need me to do. So I actually have orientation to go back inside Louisville Metro to continue my groups with the inmates in there.
Oh, for real?
But I tell
you been locked up before?
I've done a few overnighters. I've never done no extent. It had to be because of God not sitting me still like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's just, you know, part of my story. Like, he let me get away with things, and that's crazy to say that, but I think he let me get away because he knew I didn't belong behind bars like that. Like, I've done a few overnighters, and once again, my little brother come to bail me out.
Yeah.
My little brother's been my rock, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Lil Bro, man.
Yeah,
because,
his name is Roy, but everybody calls him Beaner.
Hey, shout out to Beaner, man, because, man, listen, man, and shout out to the people who's there for family members who's going through addictions, man, because that's so important that family members out there, whoever's looking at this, and you got people out there who's addicted or friends out there who's addicted, don't give up on them. Don't give up on them. You might be that person that God's literally leading to their life. You might be that only person that seed is planted, and once that seed is planted, that person doesn't really forget what a person is saying. It might not just sink deep in at that time.
Because we don't want it yet.
Yeah, we don't want it yet.
We don't want it yet. Yeah. We want to keep harming ourselves until we're ready for it. But it's good, like I said, it's good to have people like that. It's good to have people like yourself, myself, that's out in the community, and who can spread the word better than someone who's walked that path already. And like I tell the inmates and the clients that I serve, do you not know there's not too many people. There's some that have a passion for this field, but the majority of times the people you encounter that are trying to get you help, trying to get you into treatment, trying to get you into sober living, trying to help you out, are people that's walked that path already that you walked. Yeah. It ain't your normal everyday people out here. It's the people that have suffered, that's been where you've been, and that's the reason why I showed you that picture, is because...
Throw the picture up real quick.
And so that's why I tell people, and that's why I keep that on my phone to remind people that, hey, I'm just like you, man. I just made a decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to get high just for today. You know? Yep. And I think once people, and I've seen a lot of people's body language, you know, they go for being real tense, not paying attention to the conversation until I say, hey, look at this picture. Yeah. I am you. You know what I mean? Like, I've been where you've been. My story's different than yours. But at the end of the day, our stories still match because we have something in common. That's addiction. Yeah. You know what I mean? We both struggle with something. I just made an ultimate decision, and I reached out to somebody who stayed in my ear. Shout out Beaner again.
Shout out Beaner.
You know, and who constantly would just stay in my ear, and it just, like you said earlier, it stays in the back of your mind. And I knew that one person that if I needed help, who I could call on. It just stays, and that's one thing that I'm passionate about. Is I tell people all the time, if you ain't ready for recovery right now, it's fine, but save my number. Yeah. And my business cards that I have now with this company I have, they're little stickers. So a lot of people that I try to encounter, I try to help, I'm like, hey, you're probably going to lose my business card, but if you stick my sticker to something, more than likely you're going to have a bad night one night and say, hey, let me give this guy Anthony a call. Yeah. See what he can do for me. But I'm passionate about just helping people, man. Like, whether it's getting into the program that I represent, or helping them find sober livings, or helping them get to a hospital, if I help somebody out through the day, man, it's a win in my book.
You said something real powerful. You said that you let the people that you encounter and that you serve and help, you let them know, like, listen, there's not a lot of people out there who really care, and that, you know, the truth is there's not. We just have to be honest. A lot of people do not care about people who are in addictions. A lot of people are looking over the homeless. A lot of people do. It's hope out there for people. You know, I believe that God puts it in your heart. You know, you're born with the passion. You're born with the purpose. And once I was just speaking to somebody the other day, and I was like, listen, man, you know, when you're born, you have a talent. I know you like to play baseball and things like that, right? And,
I play any sport I can.
Any sport. So,
to keep myself from getting old.
Exactly, right? So something to keep that body moving. And the thing about it is, once you accept the Lord, you know, accepting the Holy Spirit comes in, that purpose gets activated. Because a lot of people, they'll go through life doing things or working in certain places and they're not even truly happy.
Yeah.
You know, it just seems to never go right. And then they might go into a place, they might not get paid as much. But you know what? The fulfillment of what you're doing,
it's 100% true.
It oversees all the other stuff. It oversees the trials, the tribulations. Because when you're just working at a job that you got no passion for, you don't care about, then it really is a whole lot of work you're doing, and you're miserable.
Yeah.
But then when you're doing something you're passionate about, when you're in recovery, and you go through recovery, and you're able to tell the person, listen, bro, I've been through what you've been through. I know how it is to be out there and not a place to stay. I know how it is to take these drugs. I know how it is to have people turn their back on you. I know how it is to break up relationships. And then I know how it is when it all comes back.
Yeah.
And I get it all back.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. It's one of the hardest things I see in this field is getting someone to sit still and stop worrying about the outside world. You know, when you can get someone to sit still and take that hustler mentality as an addict, because we'll do anything. We'll rob, we'll steal, we'll scrap copper, we'll sell whatever. If you can take that mentality as an addict and turn it into a passion or a job, some of the best workers you can have on this planet.
Bro, I'm trying to bro, I done met some ex-addicts, man, or people who are still using, super smart, very talented, jack of all trades. Like literally, they should not be a jack of all trades. They could do 15, 20 different things. And if you just put that energy that you got into something positive.
But you gotta go sit still somewhere for a little bit and just focus on yourself. You know, what I see a lot of is a lot of people only want to do, you know, a little 30 days in a residential setting somewhere. And like I tell people all the time, you know, if I get you into where I work at and you don't like it, don't just up and leave, because we know what's about to happen. You know, you're not ready. Let me work and get you into somewhere else. Let's find a program that actually fits your likings. You know what I mean? So, but that's one of the hardest things I've seen so far working in this field. And it's coming up on 5 years of being sober. I've been in this field since 21. And it's one of the hardest things I've seen is someone to go somewhere and sit still and focus on themselves. Because a lot of men, a lot of women, they get into treatment and they try to be buddy and friends with the same crew that they hung out with on the street.
Damn, bro, that's
and that's a recipe for disaster. When you go to treatment, whether it's a sober living, whether it's a 6-month program, when you go to treatment and you do something different and you walk different and you talk different, I promise you, coming from someone who did it, you will surround yourself with the right crew. And at the end of the day, like you're not going to treatment to make friends. You're not going to sober living to make friends. Focus on you from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. That's all you can do. And there's a lot of people that I would imagine that has pretty much the same story of they went to treatment, they focus on themselves, and now they're business owners. Now they got their kids back, because that's one thing I see a lot in this field. You've probably heard it. You know, I can't leave my kids for X amount of times. If your kids are good, if your kids got food, kids got clothes, they got shelter, go be the mom or the dad you're supposed to be for them youngins. You know what I mean? Go sit still for a little bit. They don't need to know that you're in treatment. Hey, mommy's going to the hospital to get better. That's all they need to know. You know what I mean? But it's, you know, working in this field, you hear it every single day of, well, I got this job waiting on me. I promise those jobs that you were trying to get are going to be there, because nobody wants to do those jobs. You know what I mean? But I found a new passion. I literally thought I was going to be one of them guys that would go through, do my 6 months. And I didn't even plan to be there 6 months. I took it month by month. First month, I was like, yeah, this ain't bad. Second month, I was like, kind of like this. It got closer to me getting ready to graduate the program. It was a 6-month program. I talked to my little brother again. And he was like, what's your plans? I said, you know what? I think I'm going to work here. I finally got my phone back, which is another huge crush of people giving that up, go to treatment. I had a couple calls to offer me jobs that I used to work at, good money, like real good money. And I told him, I was like, man, I can't do that. You know, I know where that's going to lead me to. It's backbreaking work. I'm going to have a weak moment. Next thing you know, I'm back in treatment again, and I don't want to do treatment again. And I found a new passion for it. I started getting the phase 1 clients that come in that are, you know, detoxing, feeling like crap, you know, worried about their family, worried about the outside world. But then when they get somebody that actually talks to them like a human being, treats them like a human being, and tries to show them a little bit, it gives you a rewarding feeling just to see that person stick around and do something different. You know what I mean? So I gained a new passion for it, and I told my little brother, I was like, I think I'm gonna work here. Then I started working there. Then I got offered 2 jobs in the program, turned those down because they were desk jobs, and I was like, I don't see myself behind a desk all day. I want to be in people's faces. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to talk to people. I just don't want to sit behind a desk and give them contracts because they broke a little rule. You know what I mean? I want to help that person. You know what I mean? They're 30 days in. They're going to break a rule. It took them 20, 30 years to mess up their life.
Yeah.
They ain't going to get it back in a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's going to take that time.
I'm pretty lenient on a lot of things. And a lot of people that know me and that I deal with know that I'm pretty blunt on a lot of things. I'm going to shoot you straight. I might say something that's going to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
It ain't intentional, but maybe you might want to look at it and maybe you're receiving it the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't do anything out of intentional, being intent about anything. I do it for love because I was that person at one point, you know. So
it takes a lot of times that hard love.
Yeah.
That's what I like to call it, that hard love, man. You just gotta be brutally honest a lot of times. And I mean, when I was in Orlando, I just recently moved here last year, but when I was in Orlando, I was dealing in the field and with the nonprofit, and I was helping out there. And, you know, they was like, oh, yeah, this, that, you know, like kind of like baby. And I'm like, hold on. And I stepped and I'm like, listen, bro, this is what it is.
Yeah, I'm a grown man.
This is what it is, man.
Yeah.
It's no time to be playing any games right now. You are playing with your life, with everything you got going on. I can see the talent inside of you. I can see that you're this close, man, to going back. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, I can see that you're this close to moving forward. Do it.
Yeah.
You know, don't keep playing around with your life because we're not guaranteed tomorrow.
100%.
You know, and you got too much talent in you. Like you said, you seen so many people, so much talent, so much drive and ambition, but they got the ambition and drive all pointed towards the wrong thing.
They're still caught up with the outside world.
Still caught up with it, man. And it goes back to, hey, listen, the people you surround yourself by positivity. You know, you might not have a brother like Bina. You know what I'm saying? But you got people who's like Anthony, or people like me, or people out there in the field who could be that big brother that you never had, or be looked up to as that father figure you not had, because we're sitting here trying to, you might not have ever had that, but if you have somebody sitting there and they're trying to tell you, listen, you need to do this. Look at us. We're doing this. You're here. We're here to actually help you. Once people realize everybody's not gonna treat you bad. We're not here to hurt you. I think when they get past that trauma,
and then I don't want nothing from you.
Yeah, I don't want nothing. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, I'm not just trying to use you. I'm not just here to just get you and then, you know what I'm saying, and use you, abuse you, and throw you away. I'm not looking for anything from you. I'm just looking for you to do better.
If I'm eating steak, I'm gonna make sure you're eating steak with me.
You know what I'm saying? I want to see you doing the same thing that I'm doing. I want to see you do good. And once they realize, like, they get over that trust factor of a lack of trust that everybody in the world is against them. Whatever they might have went through, because a lot of times it stems from trauma that's leading them to getting to these places, to a lot of times. It might not always be all the time, but majority of the time it's some trauma that led them. And once they got high, they got that feeling, they felt better because they didn't worry about the situations they were going through. So once they get over that trauma, they learn to forgive. And they're able to be like, you know what? I'm going to trust again. I'm going to trust this person, even though I never had a dad. I never had a brother. I never had a real friend. But I'm going to put my trust in these people here that they really care about me enough to see me do good. those disciplines or those rules you might lay down at the facilities, at First Step, at the facilities that he's at, and all these facilities that's trying to help people out and they put these rules down, it's because they want to help you. People go through, they might break rules and they have to implement another rule, but it's just because it's for your well-being.
Not only that, you're going to have to follow rules in society anyway.
Gotta learn sometimes.
How can you punish your kids to follow a rule, but you can't follow simple rules in one of these programs? That's what doesn't make sense to me, you know?
Exactly.
That's
how you gonna go get a job, and any job you work at, they're going to have rules there.
100%. But one thing I do encourage all the people watching, if you are struggling with addiction, when you get into one of these facilities, like my man Isaiah talked about, when you're doing, if you don't want to talk in a group session, you get on them one-on-one therapy sessions, learn to be vulnerable. Learn to get them emotions out. It's okay. I don't care what anybody says. It's okay for a grown man and a grown woman to cry to get to that underlying issue, because at the end of the day, that is the underlying issue, is the trauma that we faced as young kids, young adolescents, the things that we've seen, the things that we've been through. Please, I beg you, get them emotions out. Learn to be vulnerable. It's okay. That's where a lot of people I see fail at.
It is, bro, and especially when they look at men, right?
Well, you don't realize it growing up. You're like, because when we grow up, I'm not sure how you grew up, but where I grew up, addiction was everywhere, from drinking, cocaine, weed, pills. That was the lifestyle. My stepdad would get up, go to work. We wouldn't see him. He'd go on a little bender. It would just be me and my brothers with my mom. So we wouldn't see him for a few days. You know what I mean? Then he'd come back, be all broke. So every bit of money he made, so now we can't pay bills. But when you grow up in that lifestyle and you grow up in that environment, it seems normal to you. That's a normal lifestyle until you get away from it and you realize that's not normal. And then you realize, like, subliminally, like, it has a lot of effect on you, whether you say it doesn't or not. Like, and I was one of them people. I'm like, my childhood didn't have any trauma of me using, but the more sober I got, the more clear my mind got, I realized that was a terrible way to grow up as a kid, to witness them things. To witness coming in, seeing your stepdad so coked out that he's passed out in blood around a toilet. Or you ain't got enough money and you're sharing one pillow and a blanket with 4 kids sleeping on a hardwood floor. You know what I mean? Like, you don't realize them things until you get sober and you start looking into it and you start talking about it. You're like, maybe that does have something to do with my choices, my addiction, and stuff like that. I mean, and there's people out there that's born with silver spoons in their mouth that fall to addiction. You know what I mean? It's because they get everything handed to them. You know what I mean?
And they could go through that, or they could just be doing all right, and then a friend might just offer them something and be like, "Yo, let me just try this," and then it hooks them, because even though because like me, I had my mom and dad in my life, and I wasn't around it, but I had a lot of family members that I seen broken apart. You know, I had my aunt had to take in some cousins who, because their mom, my cousin strung out, this cousin strung out, that cousin strung out, that cousin strung out. This one family member got to take this one in because this one's doing that. Uncle in prison here, another person in prison there, this there, that there, fights all the time. You know, in the area might not have been the best, and it's just like, you know, you never know the reason why a person might. And then you have some people who might have that in their life, and they choose not to ever use. They might have went through, like you said, you had 2 brothers who did good and didn't, but you chose to do it. You know,
it's a choice. That's where I say it's a choice.
It's just a choice on the, you know, some people, they might be like, listen, I'm not going to, I seen all this that happen. I'm not gonna go down that path. I got to do something better. And then some people might just have, hey, you know what? I see this happen, and I'm just gonna take this route and doing it. So, you know, it's whatever a person's choice is, that's a choice that you made, and at the end of the day, like you said, you had to take accountability. And just like me, I had both my parents in the life. They told me I did what I want. You know what I'm saying? I did what I did anyways, and that's because, you know, it could come from me going through stressful stuff, seeing a lot of arguments in the house, seeing my cousin going through stuff, or being bullied and then wanting to be accepted from the wrong people, or just going through their own mental stuff that you might go through. And I know that's a big thing too, because I know that the mental is involved. Depression is real. Depression is a real thing. And like you said, going to talk to people and being vulnerable. If you're depressed, you know what? You might have thoughts of killing yourself. I remember being young and having thoughts of taking my own life at a young age.
I've had a lot of thoughts. Never of killing myself. Praise God, I never had that.
Yeah.
But I've had thoughts of harming other people, loved ones too.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because it was drug filled thoughts, man. You know what I mean? Like, and it's. But I look at it like this: you have the choice. You made the choice to start your addiction. You also have the ultimate choice to change your addiction and do something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's help out there. Like I didn't know when I was in my addiction that there was this much help in the community that I lived in, that I was born and raised in. Now, it's a blessing that someone who has walked these streets, has sold drugs, have done drugs on all these streets, I'm out now trying to get the drugs, the people that are using the drugs off these streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's great. I came past this liquor store on the way down here, and it instantly popped in my mind. Like, I almost forgot about it, but it instantly popped in my mind. It's a liquor store right there on the corner. I used to meet one of my heroin dealers right there.
Damn.
You know what I mean? The house that I live in, a lot of people have a lot of issue going back to, where they used to live at, this and that. It's a mindset. It's a huge mindset. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of emotions
it brings it back up.
But at the end of the day, you can go back to the area, but it's hanging out with the right people.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing, because if you go back to your same hood, your same subdivision, where you start hanging around them same knuckleheads, you're going to end up like one of them knuckleheads.
Nah,
again, you know what I mean? 100%.
You are. It's guaranteed to happen, bro.
There's probably not a gas station or a street in this city that I probably haven't done or sold drugs on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you can go back to your hometown. It's just, you got to have that mindset of wanting to do something different. And I think that's what it starts with, of don't worry about selling. I mean, and for some people, it is what it is, to each its own. But to me, if you're early in your addiction, don't worry about, well, I got to get to 30 days. I got to get to 60 days. Give it 24 hours. Give it 10 minutes.
One at a time.
You hear these sayings so cliche, and I imagine you've heard it a million times just like I have, but these sayings are so cliche because they work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it works if you work it. Keep coming back. Things like that. Like, but I think at the end of the day, I think addiction, you got to change that mindset.
You got to change.
You got to want something different. You got to flip everything around the way you used to live and live a different way.
You got to.
You know what I mean? That's what I think. That's the biggest key in recovery.
And you're right about that. It's the mindset, and I know it starts with being spiritual. Has to do a lot with God, because the thoughts that we have, you know what I'm saying? If you let it sit there and dwell, it'll take over your life.
Absolutely.
Because like, you have thoughts of might hurt. You might be having thoughts of hurting yourself. You might have thoughts of hurting somebody else. But just because you think it, don't mean you do it.
When you genuinely pray to God to remove these character defects, having that faith. I mean, there's times I've woke up and just didn't really have the energy or didn't really want to tackle the day.
Yeah.
And before I get out of my bed, I just talk to God. I talk to God like I'm talking to you. You know what I mean? Like,
you gotta be real. That's
a relationship I have with my God. He knows I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
He knows it.
For sure.
I mean, he's the only perfect human that's ever walked this earth and still got criticized for it.
Exactly.
People still hate him for it. You know what I mean? But
you'll never be good enough for some people.
Absolutely.
Ever.
And that's the thing. You got to learn not to worry about pleasing everybody else. You got to worry about yourself.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like,
but you know what the Bible says too, right? Because once you accept the Lord, you're born again, and you're a what? You're a new creation. So you're not the same way you was. It's unexplainable. It's a real change that happens when you accept the Lord into your life, and then you allow Him to get rid of all that fleshy nature, all those defects of, you know what, I'm gonna be this is gonna be mad, I'm gonna give up, and I'm about to quit this job, go back to using again. I'm gonna do this here and go back to this lifestyle. That's insanity.
Every job I've had, I've prayed about it and talked to my wife about it before I made that ultimate decision. Yeah. And He's guided me and opened up so many doors, and He continues to open up doors. Like, who would have thought somebody that society labeled as a junkie, a nobody, that stores would follow you when you walk in their stores, is now able to work with judges, work with probation officers, work with other facilities, trust you with a company card, trust you with a company gas card, trust you with a company PEX card to be able to take probation and courts and be able to go back inside jails that you've been arrested in and teach groups. Who would have ever thought that? You know what I mean? But it just starts with work. It starts with putting God if you ain't putting God first in everything that you do in life, I feel sorry for you.
People aren't gonna give you a chance naturally just
Yeah.
doing that. God gotta move their heart,
Yeah.
literally, and that's what I realized. That especially, you know, what I mean? Like, cause I was in prison and stuff. So when if you ever go to a job, it's like, okay, they're gonna look at your record.
Yeah.
And then that's an issue that you might think about. You know what I'm saying? On any job you put in, if you're a convicted felon, you're gonna be like, dang.
You're already going into it with a loss.
You're already going into it with a black guy,
Yeah.
2 black guys. You looking rough already to anybody who might hire
Well,
you.
you're going with the expectation of, they see a young African American guy, ex-con.
Yeah,
You're already
yeah.
going with the negative
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
and the expectations you ain't going to get the job, so you're going to stay in the same the same mess that you continue to put yourself in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people think that way, but then that's why when God changed that perception, you know what? Like you said, a good thing. You said a perfect thing. You wake up and you pray.
Yeah.
Pray about it and be like, you know what? God's going to handle this for me. I'm going to leave it in God's hand, number one, because I can't do it myself.
And the thing is, when I pray though, and here's the real thing: when I pray, the only thing I ask God for is to take the addiction from me. That's the only thing I pray at the end of every prayer that I pray. I pray for everybody around me. I don't ask God for anything at all besides, please take this addiction from me, this craving of addiction from me. But I pray for people around me, man, and it's freakish of how much He has blessed me. I'm not a millionaire, but it's nice to know that I can take my kids to the store and buy them something now, and not worry about having a pocket full of money, worry about going to re-up or buy dope, and my kids, hey, Dad, can I get a pop? Can I get some chips? No, I ain't got no money. You know what I mean? We lie to our kids, we lie to everybody, but man.
I think that selfishness, when the closer you get to God, that selfishness turns to selflessness.
Yeah.
And then the more you get to God, and it talks about, you know, the closer you draw to God, the closer He draws to you.
Yeah.
And then once He draws to you, you become more Christ-like.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, people might believe what they believe. The Lord Christ came, and He loved people. He cared for people. He gave everything, even to His own life. So us becoming more Christ-like, we're giving everything that we can. You know what I'm saying? I see recovery, you know, surrounded by God. So once you're addicted, okay, once you're going through recovery, you're already looking like, you know what? I got my higher power, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who is it? You find it, okay, it's God. And then once you let God start leading your life, then it just comes with it. You want to help other people. You start praying for other people more, and then you start growing more blessings start coming to you along with it.
And the thing is, it's crazy because you don't even ask for them blessings. Like, but you gotta be aware and conscious of it, that to learn to be grateful for things. Learn to keep yourself humble. Don't let pride get in the way.
People overlook the blessings that they can literally see the little things that, you know what, you just overlook it because you think this is just how it's supposed to go. No, that's actually a blessing.
And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it because I'm always one of the ones, I'm like, man, I want this in my bank account. But then I got to check myself, and that's that God conscious telling me, look what you have. All your bills are paid. You have a nice job. You have a beautiful wife, 3 beautiful kids. You have a home. There's food on the table. What else? Like I tend to get ungrateful sometimes, and I got to learn to check myself of where I was before.
Bro, that's so real, because literally, like, you'll be in a position and you don't even realize that people are praying to God to get to the position you're in.
Yeah, and that's the crazy.
They're like, yo,
part.
man, I wish I could get in the position that Anthony's in right now. Please, God, just, you know, I'm not covering up what He got, but Lord God, I want to have a family. I want to have a wife. I want to have a house. I want to be able to just do what He's doing and give back. And they might be in the position you used to be in, praying to get the position you're in right now. You got people might be looking up to you right now, like, dang, man.
I wouldn't be in the position I'm in right now if it wasn't for God and the people that love me, that seen something in me to want me to do something different, and that reached out. Yeah, they had to love me from a distance, but at the end of the day, yeah, we got to do the work. But if it wasn't for people loving me from a distance and, you know, constantly checking on me, and then putting God first in everything that I do, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today.
Hey, see.
A lot of people thought I'd be in penitentiary or dead by 22, and I'm sitting here as 44 years old right now.
Yes, man, you don't look like a brother.
I appreciate it.
Looking good.
I appreciate it.
Looking good for 44 now, brother.
But man, it's just I'm just so thankful. I'm humbled. I'm blessed. I'm blessed more than I thought I would I would ever be in my life or where I'm at right now.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And it's all by the grace of God. And you know, when I try to talk to people, I'm like, Jesus didn't use the good people as his disciples. He used the 12 people that nobody would have ever picked in their life to spread his gospel. Yeah. That's what he does with addicts. Yeah. Is he uses us to spread his word and his gospel. Let them know that, hey, I am real. You just got to have faith and remain faithful in me. And I promise you, you're going to live a good life.
That's a fact.
And it's hard to do for a lot. I get it, you know what I mean? But 2 prime examples sitting here on the couch. Yeah. And I imagine every man and woman that sat on this couch can give you the same testimony. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's
He's going to give you that purpose. He's going to open those doors, and he's going to bless you.
Yeah. But he'll open the doors that he wants you to walk through.
Yeah, yeah.
But when he opens it, don't play no games. You better run through that door.
You better run through it. Yeah. Nah, it don't mean it's going to be open forever. Nah. It don't mean you're going to have all these other chances to just keep doing it. Some people might have a little bit more leniency, but then, hey, when they open those doors, our thoughts are not God's thoughts. Our ways are not God's ways. Just know that when those blessings come and those doors open, go through that door. It might be uncomfortable at first because going through recovery can be uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
You know, you're in situations, like you even said, you were talking about open it up to people. Those are things that you might not be used to. It's uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
But you know what? You got to go through that uncomfortable to get to your purpose, man. It's just always, everybody that God called had to be uncomfortable to be like, I got to leave this job to go to this job here. Yeah. You telling me to move from this area to this area here? That could be uncomfortable.
Addicts don't like to be uncomfortable.
They don't like to be. It's a trigger. Hey, I got to move here. Yeah. I'm about to go back and use.
It's the fear of unknown, and that's where that being heavy in your faith will come into play. Yeah. God will take that anxiety. He will lower it. He will take it from you if you just remain faithful. It's one of the hardest things to do that I see a lot of is guys coming to treatment, that pride, because we're brought up of guys don't cry, guys don't talk about their feelings. Yeah. Guys don't show emotions.
You gotta be manly,
You gotta be man. You gotta be tough.
Man, you crying, you a chump, man. You a chump, man. You crying, bro, man. What you crying for, bro? Like,
cap. As a new kid say.
Yeah, that's cap right there, man. You cry too. Stop capping. You might not show it, but man, you cry too.
And I preach that to my son, who's now 16. It's okay to if something touches your heart to show emotions. Yeah. It's okay to shed a tear. You know what I mean? But if you don't talk about it, it's only going to fester and it's going to make it worse.
It's going to build
and then it's just you're going to snap on the wrong person that you don't want to end up snapping on. Wow. So I highly encourage people, man or woman, or kids nowadays that's getting into treatment, get in there and talk about them feelings, talk about them emotions. I've never had to deal with it, but a lot of guys, a lot of girls been sexually molested. Yeah. Get in there and talk about that. That's a big thing.
That's huge. That's a big thing with
especially
a lot of people
for men.
Yeah, it is.
Especially for men because men don't want to feel less of a man if you say that you've been molested by another grown man. At the end of the day, that was a grown-up making that bad decision and preying on a young kid. It's not your fault.
It is because
it's definitely not your fault.
It's not your fault, man. And I've been a minister, and I had to minister to a lot of men who went through that. Yeah. And they're married, but their wives will never know about it and things like that. But the thing about it is that you tell somebody and get that off your chest to be able to forgive. And a lot of times, it even talks about in the Bible, confess our faults one to another, talk to each other, be there for each other. That's what we're here for. We're not going to judge you. We understand life happens. Bad things happen to people. You don't have a choice.